Chapter 14. Follow after charity, and desire spiritual gifts, but rather that ye may prophesy. For he that speaketh in an unknown tongue speaketh not unto men, but unto God. For no man understandeth him, howbeit in the Spirit he speaketh mysteries. But he that prophesieth speaketh unto men, to edification and exhortation and comfort. And he that speaketh in an unknown tongue edifieth himself, but he that prophesieth edifieth the church. I would that ye all spake with tongues, but rather that ye prophesied. For greater is he that prophesieth than he that speaketh with tongues, except he interpret, that the church may receive edifying. Now, brethren, if I come unto you speaking with tongues, what shall I profit you, except I shall speak to you either by revelation, or by knowledge, or by prophesying, or by doctrine? And even things without life-giving sound, whether pipe or harp, except they give a distinction in the sound, how shall it be known what is piped or harped? For if the trumpet give an uncertain sound, who shall prepare himself to the battle? So likewise, except ye utter by the tongue words easy to be understood, how shall it be known what is spoken? For ye shall speak into the air. There are, it may be, so many kinds of voices in the world, and none of them is without signification. Therefore, if I know not the meaning of the voice, I shall be unto him that speaketh a barbarian, and he that speaketh shall be a barbarian unto me. Even so, forasmuch as ye are zealous of spiritual gifts, seek that ye may excel to the edifying of the church. Wherefore let him that speaketh in an unknown tongue pray that he may interpret. For if I pray in an unknown tongue, my spirit prayeth, but my understanding is unfruitful. What is it then? I will pray with the spirit, and I will pray with the understanding also. I will sing with the spirit, but I will sing with the understanding also. Else when thou shalt bless with the spirit, how shall he that occupieth the room of the unlearned say Amen at thy giving of thanks, seeing he understandeth not what thou sayest? For thou verily givest thanks well, but the other is not edified. I thank my God I speak with tongues more than ye all. Yet in the church I had rather speak 5 words with my understanding, that by my voice I might teach other also, than 10,000 words in an unknown tongue. Brethren, be not children in understanding, howbeit in malice be ye children, but in understanding be men. In the law it is written, with men of other tongues and other lips will I speak unto this people. And yet for all that will they not hear me, saith the Lord. Wherefore tongues are for a sign, not to them that believe, but to them that believe not. But prophesying serveth not for them that believe not, but for them which believe. If therefore the whole church be come together into one place, and all speak with tongues, and there come in those that are unlearned or unbelievers, will they not say that ye are mad? But if all prophesy, and there come in one that believeth not, or one unlearned, he is convinced of all, he is judged of all. And thus are the secrets of his heart made manifest. And so falling down on his face he will worship God, and report that God is in you of a truth. How is it then, brethren, when ye come together? Every one of you hath a psalm, hath a doctrine, hath a tongue, hath a revelation, hath an interpretation. Let all things be done unto edifying. If any man speak in an unknown tongue, let it be by 2, or at the most by 3, and that by course, and let one interpret. But if there be no interpreter, let him keep silence in the church, and let him speak to himself and to God. Let the prophets speak 2 or 3, and let the other judge. If anything be revealed to another that sitteth by, let the first hold his peace. For ye may all prophesy one by one, that all may learn, and all may be comforted. And the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets. For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints. Let your women keep silence in the churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law. And if they will learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home, For it is a shame for women to speak in the church. What? Came the word of God out from you, or came it unto you only? If any man think himself to be a prophet or spiritual, let him acknowledge that the things that I write unto you are the commandments of God. But if any man be ignorant, let him be ignorant. Wherefore, brethren, covet to prophesy, and forbid not to speak with tongues. Let all things be done decently and in order. Here in chapter 14, Paul lays out some concepts about spiritual gifts. He said, follow after charity, so you want to be charitable, and desire spiritual gifts, but if you have to focus on something, focus on that you may prophesy. That requires the highest level of spirituality, closest relationship to God. All of the others are ones that don't need to necessarily have that quite to the same extent. And then he compares it to speaking in tongues, and he is not marvelously impressed with the value of speaking in tongues. Now, this is a man who does this, who knows what it is. This is a man who speaks in tongues. But he makes the point, for he that speaketh in an unknown, in other words, sort of stands up and sort of says something that's supposed to be speaking in tongues, but nobody understands them. It doesn't make any difference what he says in the speaking of tongues. It doesn't help anybody. Verse 4, he that speaketh in an unknown tongue edifies himself, but he that prophesies edifies the church. And he says, in verse 5, as much as I would wish that all of you were at least spiritual enough to speak in tongues, I would rather that you prophesied. For greater is he that prophesieth than he that speaketh in tongues, except he interpret, that the church may receive edifying, which is teaching. I want to move all the way down here to verses 19, 20, 22, 23. Yet in the church I had rather speak 5 words with my understanding, that by my voice I might teach others also, than 10,000 words in an unknown tongue. Now this is from a fellow, this is from an apostle. We learned about from Luke that at one particular point Paul preached all evening, all night, until the next morning. He likes preaching, but he would rather, because he understands that it isn't just the number of words that are spoken that matter, it's the understanding of the people who get spoken to. Okay. Now, then in verse 20, there's this inserted thing there that's really neat. Brethren, be not children in understanding. In other words, you need to be smart here, guys. You need to be smart about this. You need to understand that. However, in malice, in matters of malice, in apologizing and overcoming hard feelings and offenses, be like children. Get it over with fast. Kids apologize, kiss and hug one another. Everything's fine and dandy. They forget it. It's over in seconds. But in understanding, be men and understand it. You need to understand. Verse 22, verse 23. Wherefore tongues are for a sign, which they are, not to them that believe, but to them that believe not. What does he say? You don't really want to be a seeker after signs. Prophesying serveth not for them that believe not, because they aren't going to believe the prophecy, but prophesying is for them which do believe. So if you're a believer, you don't want gifts of tongues. You want to prophesy. If therefore, verse 23, the whole church come together in one place, and all speak with tongues, and there come in those that are unlearned or unbelievers, will they not say they are mad? That's what happened to the apostles when they were speaking in tongues, and people saw that, and when they received it, that people thought they were drunken. This is the apostles. Verse 27, if any man speak in an unknown tongue, let it be by 2 or 3, or at the most by 3, that by course, and let one interpret. And if there be no interpreter, let him keep silence in the church, and let him speak to himself and to God. For God, verse 33, is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints. So, nice to have the gift of tongues, better to be a prophet. If there's nobody around that can interpret what you say, keep silent. It doesn't help.